Well, this is the new setup here in Australia. Now that the containers arrived from New Zealand with the car and all my tools, can finally get into stuff. There's quite a bit going on with this car, which I'll go over in a second. Luckily, moved into this house the day the container arrived. Was getting kind of stressful because I had nowhere to put my car, so I desperately needed a garage. Kind of moved here at a difficult time when the rental crisis is like insane. But anyway, got something. Whilst it's not perfect, still quite limited to what I can do in here. It's something, and it has bloody aircon in the garage, that's unreal, so good. I thought it was fairly decent size. I think it's 6x6, but after unloading everything, I've come to the realization that I've filled it up pretty quickly. Basically piled everything in and set up like this tire rack, which is very handy because obviously tires scattered all over the ground just takes up so much room. Done another shelf over there full of just random bits and pieces, a few boxes. Come around this way, got like a basic workbench, toolboxes there. Good enough to get, you know, the basics done. It's a little bit messy at the moment because like straight away I was into it, just been working on a bunch of things. Now there's a massive Jay-Z meeting next weekend at Queensland Raceway, and I've only just started working on this car from the last track day when the car first landed here. If you watched that video, you would have saw the car was majorly overheating. Now, there's a few things I'd done to the car before I loaded it into the container, which I forgot about because I was just that busy and I didn't record it. I ended up deleting the heater core because it was cut anyway, so it was serving no purpose. And I also changed the dash. I got rid of my ugly one that was in there and put a nice black one I was saving, and I had to cut the black one, which is pretty unfortunate because they are quite sought after, but it does look good now. So what I end up doing is blanking the hoses for the heater core. I completely forgot I'd done that, and it was overheating, basically just idling off the trailer. Hopefully once I sort that, we should be okay. There's a whole bunch of stuff I need to do, and I don't think I'm gonna get it all done in time before next weekend, but what I've been doing, I removed the radiator to gain access to the condenser. I've removed that too to try to get a bit more airflow. Something I didn't want to do because I really want AC in this car again. At the end of the day, it is a complete street car just with a roll cage, but I'm gonna have to get a whole new AC unit. Yeah, hopefully I can do that down the track. What people normally do is just loop the heater lines at the back. Now this car was kind of overheating already before I'd done that. Nowhere near as bad. So instead of just looping it, I feel like it's still gonna get hot because here in Australia, it is just insanely hot. I don't know if you can see down here, I've bought this heat exchanger, which is usually used for like a water to air intercooler. It came with 2 fans as well. I'm gonna try use that for just like extra cooling, extra capacity, and I'm sure with that, it should not overheat anymore. I'm just trying to mock up where I'm gonna fit it because there it doesn't quite fit well and I can't use the fans. I've heard of other people doing the same thing and mounting them in the boot, but they've had to cut holes in the boot in order to have the fans drawing air, which I really don't want to cut this thing. Like, I still at some point would like to register this car, so I don't want to just go hacking it up. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do there. For this event coming up, it's just going to have to, as long as it's drivable, I'll have to do the cosmetic stuff later. I'm going to do an oil change. I can't even remember the last time I've done one in this. I'm pretty sure last time I used like 1050 or 1550. Now I'm going up to a 1060, which may seem very thick. This is a strict drift car and it gets hammered. And I just thought, since it is so hot here. Now I don't know if you guys know this, but there's carpet in this garage, which is very luxurious. It's very good for working on stuff. It's comfy, but it's very scary, especially when doing stuff like this. Try not to spill any oil. Huh. Not bad for over 2 years old. It's actually quite golden on here. The dipstick's still golden too, so. Smells like E85 and cherry scent. Right, time to put this diff oil in. It's gonna be that thick. I'm actually wanting to do a whole new setup on this car as well, new turbo and everything. It's just really struggles up top. It's very responsive, but it just doesn't hold the power up top. When I drove at QR, it didn't help that it was overheating, so I was pulling a lot of time and I could definitely feel it was down on power, but it was like struggling to even do second gear. And even when it is running fine, like third gear, it struggles to get like over 5 grand because it just doesn't have the grunt. So we'll do a bit of a PSR turbo. I don't know what manifold yet, and I want to do cams at the same time. Spice it up a bit more. Bit of a hot tip, if you got a drift car, always overfill it with oil a little bit because there's a less chance when you're singing off the limiter that there'll be oil starvation. Something I always do, and I know a lot of other people do as well. A lot of people seem to struggle with getting the JZ oil filters off with all the stock junk there. It's not that bad as long as you've got the right tool. One of these bad boys makes it super easy. The worst part about it is it goes all over the subframe and it makes a mess. So I've actually had quite a lot of parts turning up. Handbrake's not working, so I'm gonna change the shoes. A few wiring things like water squirters, I need to rehook those up. Big event coming up is halfway hangs, which I wanna try get this perfect for. Needs to be lowered, bunch of things, need new coilovers and all sorts. I'm very fortunate to get accepted for halfway hangs. If you don't know what that is, it's like the biggest, vibiest drift event in Australia. If you know what Final Bout is in the States, it's the Australian equivalent of that. The event is unreal and I'm like honestly privileged to get accepted because it's massive and there's only a limited amount of drivers. You have to have like genuine wheels. It's a pretty exclusive event, so super stoked on that. That's in February, so that's going to come around pretty quickly. Gonna be busy times ahead. Well, now that I've got the garage door closed and the AC pumping, can finally do some stuff. Got some brand new brake shoes. Oh, I got some lollies too. I actually got 2 pairs. I've been needing these for ages. I've had a crook handbrake that barely works for so long now. Start chucking these on and we'll finally have a good working handbrake. I thought I'd get a backup here, and people probably always say, why don't you just get a hydraulic handbrake? I just do not want to. I love the fact that this is like street spec car. I don't want it to be like a hectic drift car. The street feeling is just so much better. That's that done. As you probably saw, they were stuffed. This one's steel on steel. This rotor here isn't the best. Quite a big groove there. All I can do is give it a bit of a scuff and scuff the shoes as well, and hopefully it grips up all right. Ideally, that needs to be machined. At least we're gonna have a working hammer. Chuck it back together and on to the next job. Right, we're here at Zilla Jet Boats, here to see Benny, and he's just done this exhaust for us. It's looking pretty bloody mint. How was she?
A mission. Definitely not as easy as round 5, I can tell you that.
Are you not a fan of oval?
I mean, your pocket's not to be a fan of it, but that's alright. Looks good, but you know, it's obviously made for a purpose, and yeah, you got that ground clearance, but man, it's just so much harder.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty sick. Interesting how I've done it. Got 2 side exits, oval, and then added this muffler in. So hopefully it sounds a bit different. Unique. First time starting it. Oh, that's way better. That's heaps quieter. That's deep as f. That's perfect. That's still going to be loud when you're like on the track. Boy oh boy, talk about stress. Got the exhaust done, bring the car back here, just been doing some final things. The event is tomorrow, it's already so late. Look at that pitch black out there. Still with a load on the trailer. Neighbours are going to be mad, but I'll give you a quick update on the things I've just done. Exhaust sounds mint. It's real deep and quieter at idle. When you get on the revs, it's real deep. No more tractor sound. That's basically exactly what I wanted. Battling this overheating issue. I've managed to mount this heat exchanger in here. Hopefully it's okay. Couldn't fit the fans. I haven't actually bolted or anything, but it is so solid because it's hard up against the radiator and this bracket here. And to avoid it, you know, rubbing through the radiator, I've got some foam on each side there. Ran the lines up there, got these two lines here, both run to the back there. Haven't even had a chance to bleed it up properly, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes tomorrow. Nothing changes, always last minute. I highly doubt I'm gonna get this video up before the event. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. It's gonna be bloody sick anyway. Definitely not satisfied with the car. There's a lot of stuff I really wanted to do. Having no rear bumper is ugly. It's annoying because I've got a new one that'll just make this car look so much better, but just didn't get a chance to paint it. Honestly, if it overheats after all this, then I'm done for. Also hooked up my water squirters again, so I've got this big 20 litre here that runs up. Washer mode at the back there, and then I've just got a switch inside the cab that I flick on. Still gotta quickly wire up that. Probably gonna end it here. We'll see how we go tomorrow. Make sure you tune into the next video because it's gonna be so sick. Some absolutely insane cars coming from all over Australia. There's people coming from, you know, Japan, New Zealand, all sorts just for this event. So it's gonna be a big one. If you haven't subscribed, like this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas.